As the USMNT returns to the grind of World Cup qualification, it is my great pleasure to welcome in a very special guest, Mark McKenzie, a key member of this summer's Nations League success. Mark has quickly established himself as a rock in the heart of Greg Berhalter's defense while continuing to impress with his club side, Belgium's Genk. And as if resume wasn't impressive enough, my man is also making waves in the world of podcasting. So I really need to watch out because he's going to take my job very soon, and I'm not going to be very happy about it. But Mark McKenzie, a pleasure to have you on Qué Golazo. How are you?
No, thank you for the first of all, thank you for the intro, man. You make me sound so accomplished. You know, I'm only 22, so yeah. Got a ways to go, you know. But no, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, man.
No, of course. Listen, it's an absolute pleasure to have you. Obviously, I know you personally through our friend as well, Heath Pierce. We were talking about orange slices as well. By the way, before we get into it, thank you for tuning in, everybody, and make sure that you leave a comment, like a video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. While you're at it, follow Qué Golazo on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your pods so you get more episodes like this. Right, let's get into it, Mark. First of all, we're going to talk about all the good stuff, USMNT. I want to talk about these games coming up, of course, and Genk as well. But I want to talk about orange slices for a second. Like, how did this come about?
Yeah, honestly, I think I posted on Instagram during the lockdown. I posted something like, because I've been hearing about so many people starting podcasts, and I'd seen stuff on YouTube, and I was like, maybe I should tap into this. And you know, I was gonna originally just start something random, but I posted on Instagram, posted a poll. People were like, yeah, and I think I forget who saw it, but long story short, Richie Graham reached out to me. If those of you who don't know, Richie and I go way back, you know, from my time at the Unions Pre-Academy. You know, he brought me in, so. Yeah, he reached out and was like, hey, you know, would you be interested, you know, in joining our team? You know, starting a podcast. You know, we have 4 Soccer Ventures, blah, 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 you know, and the details about, you know, who's going to be involved, this, that, and the other. And then Heath got into contact with Heath Pierce. That's how Heath and I kind of, you know, jumped in communication. And from there, you know, just started writing down ideas, you know, what's the name of the podcast? You know, what do we want to talk about? Where, you know, who are the kind of guests we want to have on? Are we going to do this weekly? How many times? You know, is it going to be 2 times a week, 1 time a week, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, from there, you know, just picked up speed. And then eventually we started, dropped the first episode, man, what are we, 20?
I think earlier this year, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It was right at the end of last year, beginning of
That's right.
So, yeah, ultimately it was cool to see the build up of it and now to be, you know, here almost a year through.
Absolutely, man. And obviously Heath Pierce, a friend of Qué Golazo as well. And it's always great to hear you guys. How important is it as an athlete for you to develop your own voice, do you think?
Oh, I think huge, you know, nowadays especially. Everybody kind of, I think in a lot of times people want to place athletes in this one role, you know, simply an athlete, you know, so you see yourself on the pitch, on the court, on the field, whatever you want to call it, you know, and then from there you don't really have any voice, you know, you got to stick to that. But now with the age of social media, now with the age of people being interested in things outside of sports, you know, and having other endeavors and interests, I think it's even more important, you know, to step into that realm because we have such a big following as athletes. So to be able to connect the different worlds, you know, to connect different people of different backgrounds, hear different stories. I think that's what makes it so interesting and so fun, you know, because you know everyone doesn't come up the same way, and everyone doesn't have the same interests. So, you know, for myself, this is, you know, the media world is different. You know, it's new. You know, it's unfamiliar territory. You know, it's uncomfortable sometimes. You know, being there and you're like, I don't know how to transition. You know, from this question to this question, from this topic to this topic. You know, but the more you do it, the more repetitions you get. You know, more comfortable you get with it. And the more you're around people who've been doing it longer than you have, the more comfortable you get, and they ultimately, you know, pass the torch on to you and say, here you take the reins. So, yeah, I think it's huge now, and I'm glad to see, you know, outside of myself, other athletes getting involved in other interests and really showcasing themselves as more than athletes.
Yeah, 100%. And it's so great to see you develop and grow in that way, of course. And I got to tell you, everybody, you know, I've talked to many USMNT players. Mark is one of the friendliest, nicest, most outgoing. I'm telling you. So I'm sorry to do this to you too, Mark, but if you see Mark on the street, go say hello. He'll say hello to you right back.
No, absolutely. I will always say hello.
It's always good, man. Are you looking ahead to a career in broadcasting when you eventually hang up your boots, your cleats? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully after a long, healthy, successful career, I think, it's something that I'd potentially be interested in. So, we'll see what happens, as time goes on. But I think the more I get, my feet wet in the industry, the more interested I become in it and learn certain nuances, about it. So, yeah, we'll see.
Absolutely. Well, let's settle a bet here because Heath Pierce says that he doesn't think you're faster than him. Apparently, this is something like, what's going on? Old man Heath Pierce, come on.
Honestly, I don't know. I forget how this. I don't even know if it's a contest anymore. How it even started, but long story short, he said he was in his prime. He's faster than I am, and I'm like, I haven't even hit my prime yet, So. Listen.
That's the pointer there, Heath. That's the pointer there, HP. Mark hasn't hit it yet. But anyway, it's really great that you're doing that part of it. But let's get into your playing career. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Genk for a second. How's life in Belgium? How are you adapting? How are you liking it? And the differences, I guess, between the Jupiler Pro League and MLS.
Yeah, no. Now I'm 9 months in. I got here in January. And now I've been – yeah, if you exclude the summer, but yeah, I've been enjoying my time. One because it's a new environment, new setting. It's my first time being away from home. Really, of course, I've traveled across the world with youth, with the academy teams, with the national teams and whatnot. But you're only away for a period of time. You're only away for a week and a half, 2 weeks. You can go to January camp a few times. For the month stretch.
Yeah.
It's just different, because again, you're still in the U.S. for these, or you're still in your team environments, and you don't really get a chance to step outside of that. Whereas now I'm living, in a completely different country that has different cultures, different, different everything pretty much. Aside from the fact that the majority of people speak English, which is a benefit, but I think it makes it difficult because ultimately I'm trying to learn the language, so that's the biggest thing. Being able to.
How's that going?
Boy, it's going. Let me just say it's going.
You taking classes? Like, you just yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm taking lessons. I'm taking lessons virtually, so I haven't.
Okay. And it's going.
Yeah, it's going. It's going. I'm able to understand a lot more.
Right.
I can speak a little bit, enough to get around, but not nearly enough to hold a steady conversation for over 30 seconds. I think, it's a greeting. Hello, how are you? What do you do? Where are you from? And then after that, it starts to tailor off into, do you speak English? Because
well, look, the best way to learn a language is to really live there, experience it, because you're like forced to do it, right? So I feel like that's a great training for you.
No, absolutely. I think that's the biggest benefit. It forces me now. Just for example, learning Spanish. I've been learning Spanish now for some time. I'm able to actually hold a conversation.
¿Así? Tu español está bien, Mark McKenzie, ¿ah?
Un poquito, yo hablo español un poquito. So.
Muy bien, Mark McKenzie, está bien. The next time lo hacemos en español, Mark.
Hey, claro que sí. Claro que sí. But I think again, I have a lot of teammates, speak Spanish. So being around that environment all the time, wanting to communicate. Even in Genk, I have the back line speaks Spanish. You have one Mexican, one Ecuadorian, and 3 Colombians. So being able to communicate with them is huge.
You have a very big Latin American component right there. Yeah,
exactly. So again, now I'm in an environment where I'm kind of forced to learn it. So again, I enjoy languages. Luckily.
Hey man, just put on that Bad Bunny and you'll be fine, right?
Man, I think I told Heath. I was telling them. I was like, God, who is music? I was like, come on, bro, don't look any further because I got to tap into all the pools, all around, all these pools of music. So
that's it. Well, we follow each other on Instagram, so anytime you need any advice, you let me know. But así sigue practicando tu español, Mark McKenzie. That's good. I'm proud of you, man. That's good stuff.
Gracias.
Listen, let's keep talking about Genk for a second. How excited are you about, by the way, facing West Ham at the London Stadium later this month as well? That's going to be a trip, huh?
No, man, I'm looking forward to it. It's my first taste of one European competition. So to now step away from Belgium, I think we traveled to we went to Kiev, for the Champions League qualification, and then unfortunately we didn't qualify. But now we step away and we go to West Ham. Go to London, go to an established team in the Prem. So it's going to be a challenge, but I think it's one that we're all looking forward to ultimately, and that's exciting. You look forward to those moments, those the European, cup nights. Those are those nights that you dream about as a kid. So to take part in it finally is something that I'm looking forward to, and I know the group is hungry, especially coming off of a difficult loss, in our last match at home. So I'm looking to bounce back and get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, listen, we're going to talk about Jamaica in a second, but, you're going to be facing Michail Antonio a few times here between club and country. I think 3 times in the next month. How do you stop a player like Michail Antonio, Mark McKenzie?
Yeah, listen, I don't want to give away, secrets, you know what I'm saying? Listen, as a defender, I have little tricks up my sleeve,
Okay.
We're breaking out clips as well, and I'm sure they're breaking out clips of us. So,
but when you face a striker that's very good at holding the ball, but he's also very powerful, I take it that you see that and you have a completely new game plan as opposed to if you had somebody that was, pacey, fast, or whatever, right? Yeah. So you have a game plan for Michail Antonio.
No, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. He's respect to him, bro. He's scoring goals in the Prem. It's one of the top leagues in the world, one of the most entertaining leagues in the world. So, for a guy like that, you have to make sure that you do your studying and go into the match prepared. Because ultimately, if you're not ready and you're not up for the task, then you're gonna get beat. So, yeah, I'm not gonna give away too much, but ultimately, we're preparing. I'm preparing.
You have a plan.
There's a plan in place.
That's good. Is there any center backs that you model yourself after? It doesn't have to be an active player. Perhaps somebody that you look up to.
I mean, I think I don't want to say I emulate my game from. I think I take bits and pieces, from different games that I see. You look at the ability of the Italian defenders to defend in the box, to defend space, to win their duels. The commitment to the natural art of defending.
Chiellini, Bonucci. That's
You look at that. You have the tenacity of a guy like Cannavaro, who's undersized. Like myself, I'm not the biggest central defender. However, that tenacity, that ability to step in front of guys, to jump before guys get up, to win your duels, to be able to play. I think that's something that I try and pick apart. Guys like Carlos Puyol.
I'm so glad you said Carlos Puyol. I see a little bit of your game in him. There's an aggression, but you're also very smart as a center back. So you like Puyol. He didn't bow down to anybody as well.
I think that's the biggest thing. As a defender, you're gonna go up against a wide range of attackers, and attackers, I call it the glory position because everybody wants to be an attacker. Everybody wants to score goals and be but at some point somebody has to be able to shut them down. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's a mentality. Going into each match saying, as much as, as many goals as you scored, as many trophies as you won, when you come and you face me, it's going to be a long night. So that's it right there. So
I love it.
Other guys who I emulate, but yeah, I think those are just a few.
No, Puyol's a good one. Cannavaro, you said as well. That's awesome. All right, listen, let's talk about the USMNT now. By the way, congratulations again on winning the Nations League this summer. I was there. We hugged before and after. I remember that. Tell me about your experience beating Honduras and then Mexico to clinch a title in that Nations League so soon into your international career. That was a good experience, huh?
No, huge experience. I think we went to Switzerland first. We played against a quality Swiss team. It was really good preparation. And then you go into the Nations League knowing that you have 2 matches for a trophy potentially. So ultimately taking it 1 match at a time. Going to that Honduras match, it's a grind. They're chipping away. We're chipping away. It's a fairly even match. It's a typical CONCACAF match. In a great environment. And we get the breakthrough finally, and then it's like, okay, this is semifinal. We see the match out. We secure that match, and then we go into the final against Mexico, and it's that rivalry that everybody in North America really dreams about, playing in that head-to-head match, and then for me personally, I go into it and give up a pass, and they score right away going into it was like the first minute and a half.
Yeah.
Like what, so being able to.
What do you do there? What do you do? Do you have to just completely have amnesia? Do you still think, because every player always says we got to forget about it and move on, but you're only a human being. Do you still have it in your mind? Like, what do you do personally?
Yeah, look, it's as a young player, it's my first taste of like international football.
Yeah, it was it was the very beginning of your international career. Yeah.
When that moment happens, I think it's just I've talked about it in the past, on whether it be the pod or interviews. It's about just honestly taking a deep breath and collecting yourself, because the moment that you allow it to kind of eat away and think, you think about it constantly, is the moment that your game is now completely out the window,
Right.
And that's the moment you start playing scared, you start playing conservative, you start playing into the hands of the opponent. So I think, people saw me take a knee, right after that moment, and kind of just recollect my thoughts, say a quick prayer, and say, all right, here we go. Time to get back to it. You know what I'm saying? So I think after that, it was just about helping the team and ultimately doing what I had to do to help the team win by any means. And yeah, coming out of that match, it was like you finally lift a trophy, and lifting a trophy with your national team is not something that comes along very often. So you get a taste of it, and you want to do it again and again and again. So yeah, huge, exciting moments, for not only myself but the entire group. To kind of go through that stretch and that period to make it all the way to the pinnacle, and to win the Nations League tournament, that tournament, and now it's, the goal is to get to the pinnacle. Oh yeah, we followed up with the Gold Cup as well.
Exactly, man. Just kept on rolling. That roster kept on going. It's great.
One summer against, our neighboring rival. And then now you want to get to the pinnacle of the pinnacle and play in the World Cup. So now we got the goal, playing one game at a time, chipping away.
Yeah, no, it's very impressive. I wanted to ask you something, because I know that you're going to give me an honest answer here. Every time I ask a player, I feel, part of it is this USMNT side, aside from being very talented, that you're also around the same age, right? Like you're all kind of like, so sometimes I feel like that is a big advantage, right? Because you're all like, for lack of a better, it's like a big frat house in a way, right? Everybody you're all brothers, you're all getting together. But having said that, does it have its disadvantages as well? Because do you sometimes think we need an older voice here sometimes to help us remember, the scars from the past or whatever? Or do you think, no, actually, it's good that we're all young because we're fearless? What do you think?
I think it's a mix of both. I think it's important to have the youth because you have the new ideas, you have the confidence, the fresh perspective on the game. But you also need that experience, to kind of level things out, to make sure guys understand what it's going to take, to make sure guys understand, the difficulties of the past, and trying to make sure that we don't make the same mistakes again. Reminding guys that, yeah, of course, it's nice to win 2 trophies, but at the same time, we also failed to qualify for a World Cup last cycle. So, we need to keep things into perspective. If this is the goal that we want to have, we need to understand what it's going to take day by day, game by game. And that balance is huge. So going forward, I think we have a quality balance of that. And I think guys also have, we talk about age being the threshold for experience, but we have guys who are younger but have played in some huge matches,
Right.
whether it be for club or country. So
yeah.
I think it's difficult to put an age on experience now, especially now that guys are playing for some of the biggest clubs in the world with some of the best players in the world in some huge matches. So that balance is huge, and I think it's what's going to help us ultimately be successful and achieve the goals that we have.
Yeah, no, well said. To that point, John Brooks is not available coming up as well. He's one of those experienced center backs as well, in terms of the fact that he's also your position. How do you guys do that as other center backs? Do you feel an added sense of responsibility with him unavailable? Is that how it works? Or do you think it doesn't matter, whoever's in is in, but we'll do it for John? How do you see that?
Yeah, I think it's about stepping up when your name is called. Next man up mentality. We talk about it all the time. John is an important part of the team. With the experience that he has, with the ability that he has. But at the same time, guys, you're called up for a reason. Each guy has his own ability, and I think the different qualities that we all have is what will ultimately give us that mesh to move forward. So, yeah, of course, it's a blow not having them, but at the same time, we also know that the guys are hungry, to prove a point as an individual, but also as a collective unit. And I think that's what is going to help us going through this window.
Yeah, no, stepping up. Listen, I got to ask you this, because I talked to Ricardo Pepi a few weeks ago. You're smiling. I feel like you know where I'm going. This kid, man, I talked to him and he's like, it's like I'm talking to a 40-year-old. Like he knows, he's so confident of himself. He knows who he is. And when you in training, like what's he like? Like this kid, I as a Latino as well, I'm so proud of just seeing like a Mexican American just doing his thing. How do you? What does a player like that do for the squad?
No, I think him being so young and so confident, it shows, his quality, and his belief in himself, and I think it's what's going to ultimately create an even greater incline in his ability, and his potential. So, you bring him in, and he's going to fight, he's going to chip away. He may not get the first chance, but he's going to go again until he gets another chance, and he's going to put that one.
You don't let him do anything in training, right? You're like,
I already told you this, man. Look, I don't care about the name on the jersey. You know what I'm saying? But every now and again, you got to give him a little confidence boost. So if I need someone, give him like, oh no, it's okay. Bro.
Oh, you hustle him. Oh, okay.
Man, come on now, it's every now and again. Not every time, because then they start getting big heads. No. But all due respect to him, bro. He's a baller, man. He's a great kid. One, first and foremost, but also he can play. So
yeah,
great to have him in the group, and I'm happy to see him, scoring goals left and right in Dallas. And I know that big things are to come, both for the national team and for his club team.
Yeah, y practica tu español with Ricardo Pepi as well, right?
Come on, let's see, Pepi, Paul, Roldan, Sebastian Ayed.
Un montón de latinos, ahí está. Muy bien.
So.
You already know. All right, we're nearly done here, Mark, but let's finish up on Jamaica. First of all, I know this game is specifically important for you and your family. Why don't you tell the people why that is?
Yeah, I'm half American, half Jamaican. I got my dad, he's Jamaican, born and raised, moved to the States after he, right before college. And then, my mom, born and raised in New York City, in the Bronx. So, I got both sides.
New York City, baby.
Ready to boogie down. So, I got both sides of the fam, but they all love me, just
okay, so what's going to happen at home then, Mark? Who's your dad rooting for that night?
Look, look, as a dad, I feel like he root for his son, but at the same time, I understand, football is a rivalry thing. So look, either way it goes, I still call him pops, and still call me son. Go and get some ackee and saltfish, some avocado, it's all love.
It's all love. So maybe a U.S. win, but Jamaica gets a goal. How about that?
You never know. So
oh, but no, you can't say that to you though. You're a center back. You don't want any goals. So.
Come on. I'm trying to play the easy part here, But look, a clean sheet is my job. I gotta make sure you keep a clean sheet. So.
Clean sheet all the way. All right. Listen, you also know Andre Blake as well from your Union days. Have you spoken with him about it?
Yeah, Dre boy. It's that's my guy. I love Dre.
That's your boy.
That's my boy. But at the same time, man,
he's a great goalkeeper, huh?
He's a great goalie.
Yeah, and a great person, I guess.
Great person. Just he took me under his wing when I came into the locker room. And as a young player, well, honestly, as an academy player, training with the first team, and then learning the ropes of first team football. So. Yeah, much love to him, but again, it's once we step on the pitch, it's
over.
Yeah, man, But after the game, we'll still chat and catch up and whatnot. But.
Well, I mean, I guess you'll only kind of really see him in a corner, right? Because you don't have to worry about anything else.
Yeah, the clean sheet, and making sure my guys are in the right position and helping the team any way I can. Ultimately, look, 3 points is what we want. So again, one step at a time, one game at a time. But Jamaica is gonna be a difficult one, of course. It's CONCACAF football, it's World Cup qualifiers. So, we're preparing properly and making sure we're up for the task, because we know they are.
That's right. All right, let's finish up with this question here, Mark, the last one. Obviously, there's such a career ahead of you as well. You're in Europe, you're doing your thing. You got Europa League coming up. There's so many great things, USMNT. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's the main objective here for Mark McKenzie?
Yeah, it's to be playing, the biggest clubs in the world, in the best leagues, in the biggest leagues, top 5 leagues is my goal.
Is there one in particular you have in mind, or it doesn't matter?
No, I mean, for me, it's ultimately about the club that best suits me and myself and my game best suits the club. So, as I get older, as I adapt and grow in my game, I think that'll change, just over time. But
come to Villa, Mark McKenzie. Come to the greatest club in the history of the world, Mark McKenzie. We need a center back, Mark McKenzie. You never know.
Listen, man. You never know, right? So it's to be playing, the biggest games and the biggest competitions. That's Champions League, and ultimately lifting trophies because. trophies last forever. That legacy that you leave behind is what people remember. So those are, my aspirations. And then with the national team, you want to play in the World Cup and you want to play a big role and help your team lift the World Cup. So, again, one step at a time. We have a task against Jamaica, and it starts, in this window, against them. So, yeah.
That's it. Mark McKenzie from Genk, the USMNT, one of the nicest, talented, kindest, a great voice. I really wish you the best, my friend. Thank you so much for joining Qué Golazo on CBS Sports. You get some sleep now.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me, man. And I know I'll catch up with you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. Make sure that you follow us on youtube.com/Qué Golazo, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, CBS Sports, and your CBS Sports app. We got Jimmy Conrad and Heath Pierce also doing a lot of previews and recapping as well. Mark, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Have a good time, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Hey, Slice of Soccer. Make sure you guys go listen.
Orange Slices, baby.